Yeah, we've
warm in here.
we've all of the people from around the world who are here for the World Cup have been treated to the worst of our weather all at the same time. So it's like, so one day you have like a flood warning, and the next day it's a heat warning, and I'm like, welcome to Texas.
Dang. Damn. Yeah, I'm not a sports guy, so I've not really been following it. But I was going to say, have you been inundated with Brits?
No, because I don't go anywhere.
Fair.
So I haven't seen any. Last night, though, there was this huge parade of like the Dutch fans, who was literally thousands of them walking through the streets playing drums, and I could hear them from my house, which was kind of cool. But I don't know. I haven't. If you know, I just go to like the grocery store and stuff, and so I'm not talking to anybody. Unfortunately. Although I did recently just find out, like relating to England, they just updated like how they calculate your DNA stuff on this DNA thing that I use. I don't remember which one it is. It's the famous one. I don't know. But they updated it to where it's way more accurate. Damn. And I used to be like, mostly like Irish and Scottish. But now English has gone up to the top to where I'm like over 25% English, and then everything else is smaller than that. Like I'm majority English apparently.
Damn.
So, but not only that, like below that is like Scotland and Wales. So I'm literally British. So I there you go.
Hey, look at that.
Hey.
We're not so different, you and I.
Yeah. I was a little bit disappointed because, like, my dad always told me that we were mostly like Irish, and the Irish has gone way down to the bottom. And I went, oh, well, shit.
Poor Ireland.
That's okay. I've always felt like a kinship to Ireland, but also to England, I guess, as well.
It's a pretty cool part of the world, not gonna lie.
There's I envy the fact that there's so much richness in different cultures so close together.
Yeah,
that's why I like living in Houston, because Houston's kind of like that. You go outside of Houston, and for the most part, you're not getting anything like that. But
I guess as well, like, if you really get down to like the history and stuff, like America as the United States is a very, very young country.
Yes.
I mean, it's what, 250 years old now?
Is that the thing that we're celebrating? People are trying to celebrate?
Yeah. Yeah.
250 years since we murdered a whole bunch of people and took their land. Hey! Woo!
Yeah, we played a huge part in that. I'm not going to claim innocence.
To be fair, we were trying to get away from you fucking people.
Yeah. On behalf of Britain, sorry. Honestly, the what's it called? Where I was going with that is, like, Britain is such a fascinating case of so much shit happening in such a small country that you can literally travel 2 towns over and the accent changes.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that in Texas, but I don't notice it as much as other people notice it. So it's interesting. But
yeah, I can remember my earliest exposure to Texas was Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob. And that was where I found out what Texas was.
Yep.
Where she gets homesick.
A state that's bigger than your country.
By about 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
So that's been the history and geography lesson part of today's episode. So let's get started. No, wait. Nope, that didn't work. Let's try that again.
This is like the fucking
God. It was going to be so well timed too.
It's like that mixing desk from Wayne's World where it just shoots sparks out and you hit it with a spanner and it starts working again.
Yeah. All right. So now it's going to work, right?
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing
Cranked and Ranked.
Yeah. Welcome everybody to part 2 of Motörhead, a.k.a. the top 10 Motörhead albums.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for watching part 1. If you're back, then we didn't scare you guys away, I guess. Or bore you to death. But, yeah.
We'll have more to say album by album, I think, this time around.
Yes.
You know, last time, I mean, we opted to actually do 12 last time and 10 this time because we wanted a pretty clean top 10.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, in the grand scheme of things, our bottom half, there's not a lot separating any of them.
There's a lot of really close rankings here for me in the top 10. Yeah. But the interesting thing was that I know a lot of these 10 albums pretty well, aside from really, there's only one that I didn't really know as well. But going and listening to them back to back really kind of opened my eyes to like, what's better in one album to another album? But the biggest thing is B, like, what do I want out of a Motörhead album? What do I enjoy out of a Motörhead album? And that was really interesting because I think we said it at the last episode. You can put on any Motörhead album and I'm going to be like, cool, it's fucking Motörhead. But when you're really digging into the granule, aspects of their stuff, not that there's tons of granuleness, but that's what I do when I do these rankings is I try to find these little things that either like, well, I'm not too into that little thing, but I like this little thing. Like, which little thing is it going to be that does it for me? That's what she said. So
cool.
Yeah, top 10. I feel it's so weird when we do these two-parters because I don't like this. It feels weird beginning the second part because I'm like, what do we do here? Oh, we've already.
Yeah.
If you missed part 1, pause, go back and watch part 1, or if you just want to know the top 10 Motörhead albums. But you don't get a lot of the conversation of our history with the band and stuff like that if you don't watch from the beginning. And I know. Anyway. So, I guess let's just jump right into it. I feel like, I guess we did fuck around a little bit talking about DNA and Brits and Americans and stuff.
Yeah.
Which seems a little bit appropriate because, we're talking about technically a British band and the frontman ended up making America his home for the last, 30 years of his life or some shit like that. I think he moved here in the 90s.
Yeah, he hung out at the Rainbow, I hear, a lot.
Yeah.
Posted. Yeah.
Didn't he live?
Sunset.
I don't know if he lived above the Rainbow, but he lived above something. Like he lived in a flat that was above. I don't know. I said flat like I'm from fucking England, but he lived in an apartment above something. I don't remember what it was though. My glasses are foggy.
I don't know. It's kind of cool actually to hear you call it a flat. I live in a flat.
Yeah.
We're breaking boundaries here, people.
Well, just because it's just I say British terms all the time, not knowing that I'm doing that. Yeah, and it's just growing up on British television and stuff like that. But and apparently I'm English. So anyway, so let's get started.
I'm gonna see you next week, and you're gonna have like a top hat and a monocle. I'm gonna be like,
yeah,
you okay?
I'm gonna be drinking tea instead of coffee.
Yes,
and I'm gonna have a crumpet.
Right. Yes.
I'm fucking pissed off at my local H-E-B grocery store because I love H-E-B. If you hear people from Texas talk about groceries, they're going to talk about H-E-B because it's a fucking amazing store. But my particular store used to have this amazing international section and a British section that had hobnobs and Jaffa cakes, all that stuff, all gone.
Yeah.
Now they just have these basic crackers and flavorless digestive things. That's all they've got now. There's
dude,
none
not
of
even
the
chocolate digestives.
No,
dude, they robbed you.
No hobnobs. That brand, the McVitie's, not there anymore.
Dude, that's gutting.
Pretty lame. So I may have to go to a different store. If anybody knows, does anybody live in the Houston area and knows the best place to get hobnobs?
It's going to become like a black market. You have to buy it from a shady dealer in an alley. It's like, you got the stuff. And it's like, show me the money.
Yeah.
Okay, show me the fucking, and then just open it, and it's just a variety pack of McVitie's biscuits.
Nice, yeah. That's what's in the Pulp Fiction suitcase.
Yeah,
He opens it
a
up.
bunch of hobnobs.
Yeah, if anybody wants to mail me a box, write me, and I'll give you my address, and you can just send me all the fucking British snacks you want. And
Fun
I'll eat them
story.
on microphone.
Hey, he's gonna do an ASMR eating an entire pack of hobnobs, start to finish,
Yep.
the entire thing. I can remember. I have a fun story about hobnobs. Actually, I don't know if I told this story on the show, but basically, when you're in school in the UK, you can opt to do this thing called the Duke of Edinburgh Award, and basically,
I think you've mentioned this before, yeah.
Yeah, basically what it involves is the big thing is the hike. You got to go on a hike.
Ew.
Yeah. The other thing is I think you have to do like some sort of like personal thing that you're working on, and you have to like do something for the community. It's like a trifecta deal thing. I can't even remember what I did for one of them. One of them was playing a musical instrument, and I can't even remember what I fucking did. I think I did like a fundraiser or some shit. But the main thing I wanted to highlight is that I did the bronze and the silver hike. I didn't opt to do the 4-day gold because I had other shit going on by that point, and I was like, I've already done 2 hikes. You know,
Yeah.
What more do I have to fucking prove by doing a third one? You know, didn't help that the team I was on was kind of dysfunctional, and there was a fucking know-it-all in the team that would, make unnecessary comments. I'm getting ahead of myself before I turn this into a fucking therapy session. Anyway, what I'm saying is, one time on a training weekend, we arrived, and basically it was fucking torrential rain, fog. You could hardly see in front of your hand. We were on the moors, dude. We were on like Dartmoor, which, in case you didn't know, in torrential weather is fucking horrible. And we were up there, and we got to our campsite. Now, thankfully, the campsite had already been assembled, so basically all we had to do was walk there and survive the night without fucking dying. So we get there, and then me and my friend Steven, who I'm with, we're sharing a tent. We realized something terrible. Our tent is shaped differently to everyone else's. Instead of the pole going over, it goes inward. And we're looking at it like, that one don't look like the rest. And by the time we're in there, the tent was shaped in such a way that a huge pool of water formed at the bottom of it. Now, Steven's head was there, and my feet were there. Now, I didn't want to get fucking trench foot, but I realized too late that my sleeping bag was in that pool. And bearing in mind, this is like February. It is like blisteringly cold. And I'm thinking there, fucking hell, man. It's blowing a gale. The tent is barely hanging on. It's chucking it down. There's like I feel bad for like the older teenagers who were like left in charge of like you gotta come out and cook on this stove. Meanwhile, the stove is like in the fucking wind. And I'm like, I'm not fucking cooking on that thing. I can't be asked. That thing's gonna go out any second. So me and Steven just said in protest, fuck it, we got a pack of hobnobs, we're gonna be fine. And we literally had this whole pack of hobnobs, and I got my pen knife, cut it in half, and I said, I'll have this half of the hobnobs, you have this half of the hobnobs. And I just sat there like in these miserable conditions, eating these hobnobs with my friend Steven. I said, Steven, I don't tell you this enough, man. I fucking love you, man. just things right now are shit, but I'm in a tent with my boy, eating hobnobs, and, the only thing keeping me sane was the fact that my phone had enough service to get a radio station, and I literally just laid there with, like, my arms supported with an earphone in, just listening to some semblance of comfort. Thankfully, though, I had the wherewithal to think to myself, right, well, if I sleep in a pool of water in the depths of winter on a moor, I'm probably going to get hypothermia, aren't I? So I thought, right, well, fuck this. So I took the wet end of the sleeping bag. I took the bin bag that I had my roll mat in, and I literally just stuck the bin bag over the thing, and I'm still here to this day.
Hey,
so, hey,
that is a nightmare.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. So
it's a good commercial for hobnobs, but other than that, it sounds like
and bin bags
and bin bags. Yeah,
but the thing I will
trash bags for my American peeps.
Yeah. So I distinctly remember just laying there thinking, this is shit. Oh,
Yeah.
and but one more thing. At the time, Snickers had put out the special edition all nougat and all caramel versions of Snickers, and
I want that. I want an all nougat version,
dude. One of the cool things that happened as a result of this, I woke up in the morning, and because it was so cold, we had our bags stored in a separate part of the tent. I opened it up, and I think to myself, oh, fuck, I'm hungry. You know, even after all those hobnobs, I was still hungry in the morning. So I reached in, and I was like, oh, yeah, my Snickers, cool, I'll eat that. Forgetting it was a full caramel one, I just went, ow! And I just bit into this solid brick of frozen caramel, and no word of a lie, I actually ended up having to, like, saw it into bits and just suck on it. Yeah, it was...
That sounds good, though. Frozen caramel... I mean, not the biting part, but like the aftermath. That sounds good.
Yeah, once I'd figured it out, it actually became quite a nice snack.
Do you ever put candy bars in the freezer? I do that all the time.
Dude, I am firmly of the opinion that that music belongs in the freezer. just freeze all my CDs.
Why would you think that? Are we talking about music on this episode? Is that why you're thinking
Well, it makes it sound cooler.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
No, but I firmly believe that chocolate at the very least goes in the fridge, let alone the freezer.
Yeah. I love putting things like Twix and stuff like that in the freezer. They're just so good. Anyway,
hell yeah.
So okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Game on! Yeah, game on!
Dude, I love that tangent. That was fun.
You can. We can start. I forgot. I'm using one of my wife's mugs today that says
Pet dogs, hail Satan.
Yeah,
nice.
It's great. I'm just decided to change it up a little bit. So yeah, let's get into it. Top 10 Motörhead albums, and as usual, I throw it over to Eddie Sparxx to start us off with his number 10 Motörhead album.
Okay, so because this is an Eddie Sparxx, because this is an Eddie Sparxx ranking, I would be remiss if I didn't have a '92 album in my top half, and as a result, March or Die lands in the top 10 spot.
Okay.
And I get the critiques of this album, and, you know, relying on a cover song that early into the album, particularly a Ted Nugent one, is a little bit...
Yikes.
At the same time, I found myself enjoying the sound of this album, and, you know, the Hellraiser cover, while not as good as the Aussie version, in my opinion, it's still cool to hear their take on it. And I still have fun enjoying this album. I think it sounds better than Bastards. I don't think it's as good as 1916. So this is kind of like, it's kind of this weird middle ground album where it's like Motörhead are kind of unsure about what Motörhead might be doing. But it's cool that there's some guest appearances from Slash, and, you know, I like parts of it. I get the critiques of others, but I did find myself enjoying it. So with that, really, I mean, there's not... again, like I say, it's Motörhead doing the Motörhead sound slightly differently per album, but as much as I liked it, I couldn't in all good conscience put it past the 10 spot. Okay. Even if it did come out in 92, and I do have a bit of a 92 bias, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I think my problems with some of those albums was I have a bias towards those years and expected them to be more like those years, and they weren't, and that kind of bummed me out, but not all of them. But my number 10 is Snakebite Love from 1998, which to me is great because it wraps up the 90s for them with an album that apparently was rushed, and as soon as they say that, I go, oh, this is probably going to be good, and it was. It's got a really good energy and a good sound overall. It's not amazing sounding, but I had no problems with it. It had some really great tracks on it. A lot of these albums that are in the 90s or even like later, when they have moments where they seem a little adventurous, that always makes me happy. On this one, you had songs like Assassin and Dead and Gone, which is them just doing a little something different. Like, they don't veer so far left that you don't know who the fucking band is anymore. But I like hearing those kind of things, and they just make for better albums for me, because I'm okay if they want to start every album with a song that starts ding 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 ding, and then do their Motörhead thing. But then after that, do something else. Because I know they're talented enough to do it, because I've heard them do it in these fucking albums. But Snakebite Love has a much better variety than any album that would come after it. The second half of it brings it down a little bit to where it didn't go any higher than number 10. But overall, I was pretty impressed that a late 90s album from this band, I was like, wow, I was pretty impressed with how much I enjoyed it. So Snakebite Love goes to my number 10. I'm just looking at, I remember when I was putting my ranking together, and I was like, it feels so weird putting some of these in the positions I'm putting them in. I'm just looking at my number 9. I'm like, did I order this wrong? I'm like, nope, that's my number 9. So anyway, that's
the thing with these big discographies, man. Is no matter where you land stuff, if there's a lot of stuff above it, you're gonna doubt yourself.
Also, if there are several albums that are considered legendary or beloved, it'd be really boring. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to not be boring, but it would be really boring if I was like, hey, they have these very well-known 3 albums. Those are my top 3. But that doesn't mean it's wrong, but that's never how it works out for me, really. So, all right, number 9. Oh, hold on.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large soda.
I mean, to be fair, he's going to need more than 1 large soda with all of that. But that's all I think. At the end of it, I'm just like, maybe get a couple drinks. That's a lot of food.
See, I've been trying to come up with my own version of that kind of order.
Yeah.
To go to a McDonald's drive-through. Get 2 number 9 large, but they're not numbered at McDonald's, so I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna have to replicate that. But once it enters the realms of 2 number 45, does McDonald's have 45 items? You've brought that to my attention, and all of a sudden now I'm thinking, fuck, what would that be?
McDonald's used to have more stuff over here anyway. But now they don't. They don't have that much stuff, which is fine, because if you go to, I don't know, there's we eat McDonald's often just because it's close and it's easy.
It's so easy.
But I've become one of those McDonald's people where I just get a fish sandwich. I actually really like the filet, their fish sandwich.
I think I've honestly had a fillet of fish twice in my life.
Oh, they're really good. I mean, compared, because I'm never happy with their burgers. I don't know, for some reason, I always eat a burger and I'm like, this is not doing it for me. I can't do this. So McDonald's for me is always chicken sandwiches and fish sandwiches. I don't like their fries either. So
I love the fact that your McDonald's order almost replicates your music. Where everybody's like, the fillet of fish sucks, and you're like, man, I kind of like it.
The best fish sandwich that I've had from a fast food joint is at Burger King. If you're, I don't know if you have Burger King over there, but we
have Burger King.
They have a very nice fish sandwich. Same thing. I go to Burger King. I don't get a burger. I get that long ass chicken sandwich, or I get the fish sandwich.
See, I like fish, but I never go to McDonald's expecting fish, so I might need to give the fillet of fish another go.
Yeah,
because I can
it's
remember.
Good for you.
It is good for you,
relatively speaking.
In the grand scheme of things, it's better for you than a double quarter pounder with cheese.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think the first time I had a fillet of fish, I was about 10 years old, and my mum encouraged me to try something else. I liked it, but I believe I had an emergency thing of nuggets just in case I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But, I honestly, at the time, I just viewed it as a bigger McDonald's, so I was like, fucking hell yeah, I'm not pissed. Can't be upset with nuggets and a fucking fillet of fish.
Yeah.
Another one thing, I don't know why. Sorry. Anyway, like I say, the fillet of fish the second time, I got another funny story. So me and my friend Dan, I've recently got invited to his wedding. Congratulations, Dan.
Yes. Does Dan even watch our stuff?
Dan is he dips in and out.
Hello, Dan.
Hey, Dan. But yeah, basically, I can distinctly remember back when Britain was a proper country, you would get McDonald's vouchers in the fucking mail, and you would get an entire sheet of them posted for your letterbox.
We used to get those over here too back in the day.
Yeah, and I can distinctly remember going through like a drawer and thinking, "What's a bunch of shit in here? What's in here?" And I pulled out this fucking thing, and it was like, expires in 3 days.
Oh shit!
Like, oh shit! I need to eat this entire sheet of McDonald's in 3 days. So
can he do it? And then I saw a
I
documentary about that one time, I think.
I specifically sent a message to Dad. I said, "Yo, are you in college today?" He said, Yeah. When's your free period? He said, "Around lunchtime. What about yours?" I said, "Fuck yeah, dude, you're gonna love this." I basically said to him, I called him and I said, "Look,
clear your schedule."
I rang him up. And I said to him, "Look, man, I've got an entire sheet of McDonald's vouchers. Now, the McDonald's is directly across the road from Truro College. They must fucking rake it in from college students." Anyway, I rang him up and I said, "Look, we both have a free period at the same time. Fuck it. I would bunk off a lesson to do this, but I said to him, being as we've got a free period, let's just fucking go to McDonald's. I will pay for everything," because I had money saved up from a summer job, and I can't remember if he like gave me some money, but I was fully prepared to pay for the whole thing. And I'm pretty sure we divvied up the stuff halfway down. And I basically said to him, "Right, you take one half of the vouchers, I'll take another half of the vouchers. We're going to buy everything on the sheet, and then we're going to have a McDonald's banquet in the corner over there." Okay? So as soon as one of us gets their order, we're going to bolt for that thing. And I can just, that and 2-for-1 Tuesdays at Pizza Hut. I can distinctly remember whenever there would be that, me and my friends would pull some money together and get 2 pizzas and share it amongst ourselves. That was good times. Good times. Eating 2 big old pizzas in the
Join
corridors.
us next time when we rank our favorite fast food top 10.
Dude, I'd be so fucking down for that. I'd be so down to do like a food tier list.
See, the thing is as much of an outlier as I am when it comes to so many things. I live in Texas, and my number one is always going to be Whataburger. It's just, it's literally, it's just the best for my fast food choices. Anyway. So,
game on! Yeah,
game on.
Number 9.
Yes, my number 9 is Iron Fist.
Nice.
Now, Iron Fist is a strange one because it's kind of the end of an era. It's the last of the original run albums, I guess, of the original lineup, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. I say original lineup, but like the iconic first lineup.
Yeah.
And it's good, but it's nothing new. And that's its only crime. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, it's pretty much a solid fucking Motörhead album that clocks in at about 35 minutes. It's in, it's out, and it's fantastic, but it's just not the albums that came before it. Coming on the heels of albums like Overkill, Bomber, Ace of Spades, following any of those up is a hard thing. And ultimately, Iron Fist is, had this album come out before any of those, it might be viewed higher. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's just a casualty of its chronology. I think it's perfectly enjoyable. And it's great, I wouldn't even relegate it to background noise because Iron Fist is a fucking banger.
Yeah.
We talked about what's the album? Rock and Roll. Rock and Roll is an album where it's like not overly memorable, but the vibe is cool.
Yep.
This is good. It's just not as good as the stuff that landed above it. And therein we have my number 9 with Iron Fist.
Yeah.
It's good. But it's not the best.
Yeah, I would say for all of my 9 down, these are all absolute bangers of albums. But funny enough, this one ended up here. Number 9 for me is Overkill from 1979.
Wow. Okay.
Which is their second official album at the time, and their first of 2 albums that came out in 1979. Now, I'm not going to argue with the actual song Overkill or any of like there are just some legendary songs on some of these albums. Overkill is an absolute banger. My problem with Overkill is the production's kind of all over the place in this album, and it kind of bums me out sometimes. There's obviously amazing songs on this album, and I don't know if it's the production also making some of the performances seem a little lackluster, or if it's actually were they just kind of phoning it in on some of them. I don't know, but there's bits here and there in Overkill where I go, I feel like this could have been performed and produced a lot better even in 1979. But that being said, this is that nitpicking thing I'm talking about, where I had to like start digging into these things, and I go, look, Overkill's got so much good shit on it, and I love this album, but it does have things about it where I go, all the other ones like have less about them that I can actually pick out. And for Overkill, it really is just like an album that I kind of wish was a little more urgent sounding.
Okay.
Because even like the song Overkill, I love that song, but it always feels like it should be a tiny bit faster. You know, every time it starts, it's like you expect it to be, but it's not. It's like, and you're like, why is this? This is supposed to be faster. But it's fucking great. And once again, I do feel that if I was older, and in 1979 I wasn't a 1-year-old toddler, and I had heard this album when it came out, I may feel a little differently about it. But unfortunately,
at the time, it must have been absolutely fucking mind blowing.
Probably, not only did I not hear it, I didn't even have. There was nobody in my family that would have even known who Motörhead were. So it's a totally different world than where I was being born. But yeah, I like Overkill a lot. It's just I like these other 8 more, which is pretty much the same thing you're going to hear me saying for pretty much every album on this list, up until number 1, because number 1 is unfuckwithable in my opinion. So number 8 for you, sir.
Cool. My number 8 is Orgasmatron.
Nice.
And bear with me 1 second while I get the little thing up here. Bada boom, bada boom.
That's what she said.
Hey, very nice. That's what she said. Anyway, basically, this album to me is one of those albums that's like really solid and really good, but there was something I liked about the previous album to where, you know, Another Perfect Day. I liked the more melodic direction they took.
Yes.
You know, especially with, I think, Brian Robertson. Yeah, Brian Robertson, who was known for working with Thin Lizzy.
Yep.
That one had an evolution that to my ear, really liked. It was them almost embracing, not necessarily hair metal AOR, like songwriting, but some of the tropes in production and songwriting that was happening at the time that was a bit more melodic hard rock that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So Orgasmatron fits in this really complicated space for me, to where it's like it's a really good 80s metal album that I really enjoyed, but it also has that thing for me in my head where, you know, I'm not exactly sure if my ears agree, but I have this in my head where it's like, does this feel like a retreat? And Motörhead have such a core sound to where I don't think it's necessarily like, you know, when Dave Mustaine, following Risk, put out The World Needs a Hero and just went kind of back a step, in my opinion, in terms of like,
wasn't after my Megadeth chronologically is messed up in my head, Because where is the system has failed? Is that after the world needs a hero?
That's after World Needs a Hero. So like, I mean, you get Cryptic Writings, which is, you know, their first foray into like going a bit more radio rock zone. Risk is going whole hog, like hardly metal radio zone. And then
just trying to write good songs at that point is all they were trying to do.
Exactly.
And people didn't like it. So fuck you.
I will put my fucking foot down and say Breadline is a banger. I don't give a fuck.
There's all kinds of bangers on that album.
Exactly. You know? It's just fucking chuds don't want to hear it. Anyway, I will say in Orgasmatron's favor, you know, all of these Motörhead albums that are like 35 minutes long, that is exactly the length that a Motörhead album needs to be. In and out, no bullshit. If you're gonna do no bullshit, have a no bullshit running time.
Yes.
And honestly, it's a great album. It's good fun. But for me, following an album that changed the game a little bit sound wise, I found myself crying out for maybe a little bit more of that. But if anything, it just shines a spotlight on the previous album and makes me appreciate that more for what it is than this for what it's not. That being said, though, in a ranking situation, it had to land somewhere, and for me, it landed at number 8.
Yeah.
So, bada boom, bada bing.
All right.
Orgasmatron, baby.
Cool. So I guess to further disappoint older folk, my number 8 is Bomber from 1979.
Okay.
The second album of 1979, and I think it is overall as an album better than Overkill. Maybe like less standout tracks, but still as an album and as a sounding album in performances, I think it's a little bit better.
See, it's interesting you bring that up because a lot of people have Bomber and Overkill the other way around.
Yeah, It's interesting listening to some of these albums because, like, as I mentioned, like, you know, I wasn't old enough to experience these, but it's sometimes it's even as a younger person. Well, I mean, not anymore, but you know what I mean. It's still hard to separate the weight of influence that a lot of these albums have had.
Oh yeah, for sure.
From how good they actually are, because that's the thing is that like I have to divorce myself of that altogether. I can't just say, well, I like that Metallica did songs off of this album, so it's my number 2. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, Metallica, you can't save it. If it's not as good, then it doesn't matter. But Bomber is a good 70s sounding album. It probably would be a little even higher if the production was a little heftier, but it is 79, and that wasn't always the case. There's some really great albums from 77, 78, 79 that have really thin production. And I don't really... Listen to the album on its own doesn't really bother me. Putting them next to other albums is kind of where it stands out.
That's how I feel about 70s Priest versus 80s Priest. Like, I'm an 80s Priest guy all the way. Like, I love what 70s Priest influenced, but like if I'm stacking Defenders next to Stained Class, I'm sorry, Defenders is winning
100%. I agree.
You know,
so yeah, Bomber has some cool tracks, some tracks that are just okay. I really liked Step Down because it's got Fast Eddie on vocals, and I just, you know, I know it's supposed to be like Lemmy, the Lemmy show, but for some reason that just makes me happy hearing other voices here and there.
Honestly, I feel like they could. You know, at the end of the day, I'm not fucking telling Motörhead what to do. You know, especially being as this entire lineup is no longer alive.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell Motörhead what works and what doesn't because they're fucking Motörhead. They've got nothing to prove to anyone.
No.
Everyone likes the fact that metalheads and punks like Motörhead is testament to the quality of Motörhead.
Yeah.
What I will say is I feel like the monotony of some later releases could have been saved by different vocalists.
Sure.
I think if one thing could have separated songs, it could have been from not solely having Lemmy as the only singer in the band.
Yeah.
You know.
But
or
I
maybe
think
even working off of each other like a Kiss sort of situation. But
I think later on the problem was that too much of the spotlight was put on Lemmy. He didn't do it. But like you would hear people talk about Motörhead, and they would, or they would talk about Lemmy, and they would be like, "Oh yeah, Lemmy's awesome," and I'd be like, "Cool, what's your favorite Motorhead album?" And they'd be like, "Who's Motorhead?" Like
Lemmy is God, man.
Lemmy became like a much bigger thing than the actual band even was.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Bomber's great. It just this point trying to order these was very weird, and that ended up being my number 8, Bomber. Now
Cool.
it's time for your number 7.
Okay, my number 7 is the self-titled debut Motörhead. Now this one landed here.
I'm just all like I'm starting to keep track of like where might we match up? Higher up we might.
So this one for me has like a punky edge to it. I mean, it does have a punky edge to it.
Yes,
because
I agree.
It's not trying to be anything other than the sound that comes out of these dudes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
They don't sound like they've firmly planted one foot in either zone. You know, they're kind of dancing around it. And I don't know if it's the benefit of hindsight, having already recorded this album one time and then going and doing it again, but it does feel like they know what they're doing before the rule book's been written.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I mean, if you go back and listen to On Parole, a lot of the performances are not as good. That album is nowhere near as good as the actual or as the official first Motörhead album. So maybe they needed that. They needed to go into the studio and hear how it sounded and then come back to it. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise for them, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really, really cool seeing such a legendary artist in the earliest stage, you know, because, I mean, Lemmy was in Hawkwind, you know, but
he wasn't like the star of Hawkwind.
No.
Like I wasn't like his band.
Yeah, exactly. So like to see him go out and do this and it just fucking rules. That's pretty awesome, you know. That's it's great, you know. Motörhead had an identity from day one, and they didn't seem interested in scenes. They didn't seem interested in playing by anybody's rules. They literally just were them. And I think that paid off in spades, pardon the pun.
Hey.
You know, this clocks in at about, what is it, 33 minutes-ish? And it's great. It's got songs, I mean, obviously it's got the, you know, Motörhead by Motörhead from the album Motörhead, as every band from this era has, you know. They've got the song that's the band name and the album name, you know, Vibrator's fun. The whole thing, you know, is...
I feel like
great.
It's because a lot of these bands did it the right way, which is you got together as a band and started putting songs together, and then you wrote a song and had a title, and you went, that'd be a good band name, and then that's how your band name comes about. Yeah. Whereas now, like, people are like, we're going to call ourselves Spatula, only all of the vowels are going to be V's. I'm just, how about write some fucking good music and quit fucking taking a word that's already a band name or something and just like saying, oh, I'm just going to make this a U into a V. And I'm like, oh, really? Like I see this a lot where like there'll be an artist like who has a name, like to put this in perspective, somebody comes out and says, you know, oh, our band is called Michael Jackson, but it's spelled, but it's got there's umlauts and there's V's instead of U, whatever. They've basically just done that. Yeah. And my thought always goes to, cool. So if somebody says like, hey, what band are you going to go see tonight? What do they say? Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
Like, oh, congrats on being a fucking idiot. And that right there sums up like not just metal, like so much rock music out there and other music where they're just like, oh, if I just put a hyphen or spell something a little different, I can be Elvis Presley. It's just yeah, okay, but at the end of the day, how's it pronounced?
I will say, like, I find the eras of metal band names so fucking funny when you actually break down what's going on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, if you look at, you know, look at the 70s, it's very, you know, oh, what's something a bit occult and mysterious? You know, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest. When you get to the 80s, it's like, you know, Iron Maiden and fucking Skull Fist or something like that. I know Skull Fist came much later, but Skull Fist is a deliberate callback to that vibe.
Yeah.
90s, you get a little bit more alternative with it. You get Soundgardens, you get Alice in Chains, you know. But when you get to the 2000s, you end up with this like faux poetic vibe where it's like burying the betrayed martyr of a bastard broken heart, and it's like, shut the fuck up.
To be fair, I will take those any day of the week over this trend now where people are just picking song names from legendary bands.
Yeah,
like some other like, and you know that's what they fucking did, and I'm just like, just come up with something good. Like I don't want to think of a different band when I hear your band. Like, do something original. Make some new music, as T-Pain once said.
I think the funniest like plot twist of any like metal naming, band naming generator stuff, I think the funniest shit is that like mega technical gent stuff where they're just like, oh, we'll just take like a math term and pluralize it, you know, integers, compasses, right angles, fucking what's the triangle ruler called? Squares. Weirdly.
Triangle ruler, I don't know.
What's the semicircle one? What's it called?
Compass? No.
Protractors. Protractors. Right, yeah. That's it. Right, I'm starting a gent band and it's going to be called Protractors. And all of our songs are just going to be math equations with screaming about bees.
I mean, to be fair, there are so many band names that are just like, if I step back and I think about band names, I go, no. Especially like there are so many modern bands that I really like. Like I will just like, I'm so obsessed with some of these newer bands, but then they'll have a name. Like a really big one for me is Chat Pile. I fucking love Chat Pile, but the second I saw that name, I went, go fuck yourself.
I tell you what, one thing that's been making me laugh is I was talking to my fiance about like, you know, new bands that I'm into, and I brought up Wanted. And I don't know if you know, but there was a boy band in the late 2000s and early 2010s called The Wanted.
Do you know how I knew that? Because I have Google.
Yeah.
which they like. I love Wanted, but they should have. The same thing is like, there's a new band out there that's called The Warning, and then there's another band from back in the day called Warning, and I'm just like, Google your shit, motherfuckers. Just because you don't know this band, it doesn't mean there aren't like tons of fans of that band, and all of a sudden now you're the same name band only with a "the" at the beginning of it. Get fucked. Like
I will say, when I was in Sage, there was a delusional part of me where it was like, nah, everybody's gonna get what I was coming from with the name Sage, because we were so influenced by Radio X on GTA San Andreas. That we were determined to name our band after the radio DJ who goes by the name of Sage.
Sure.
And that was kind of our like almost mascot in a weird way, where it's like, it's a radio DJ from a video game.
Yeah, but to be fair, when you first told me that was the name of the band, my brain immediately went, isn't there an obscure 70s band called Sage? Because like, I'm pretty sure there is. Because that sounds like a name of like an obscure 70s like psychedelic band. You know, they were called Sage. Anyway, I know it's tough to come up with a
Nirvana
original band name. Yeah, Nirvana. There was already a band called Nirvana, but I don't think that if it's before the age of if it's before the age of the internet, I'm more forgiving, because just because some people knew this other Nirvana doesn't mean that they knew that Nirvana. And that's the case with a lot of things. But now there's no excuse. Absolutely no excuse. Google your shit. Which apparently, like, we didn't Google our shit very well, because there's a guy that uses Grave Circuit for his stuff. It's not a band. but he uses Grave Circuit as his handle for a lot of things. And I for a second I go, well, maybe we should change our name. But I was just like, you know what? I Googled that shit and I didn't find that at all. Like, I did the work. So
I think as well, did we hear back? Were they cool about it?
yeah, you see, it seems fine. But the more that I dug into it, the more I was like, this guy doesn't have that large of a thing on the internet of what he's doing. So that's why, like, I didn't run into it, because I did, you know, all these different things. Like, for obviously, first you search your band name followed by band to see if anything comes up. Nothing came up, and so it's just like, you do what you can. But if you're literally just like, you know, we're Metallica, only what's spelled slightly differently. I'm like,
All the vowels are V's.
yeah, all the vowels are V's. Anyway,
One thing I will say, though, there was one. There was a music project that literally just consisted of me and a friend of mine from back in the day just fucking around on GarageBand, deliberately making the worst thing possible. And I don't think that any band has this band name. It was called Bosnian Cumcake.
So somebody out there is like, I'm going to take BosnianCumcake.com and claim it, so just in case.
The funniest thing is that I think the funniest thing about all that is, like, I wasn't even on the first two albums. There's 3 albums and an EP. And is
it out there to listen to? Bosnian Cumcake?
I will have to look. I know
I'm just going to Google it right now. Is that going to take me to a part of the internet that I don't want? It's going to take me to the dark web.
No, go on YouTube and look it up, because I'm pretty sure I've got Bosnian Cumcake.
Bosnian Cumcake.
Right then, let me have a look.
Hey, SoundCloud, Bosnian Cumcake on Spot. Oh no, never mind. I was like, I thought it's on Spotify. No, it's just Cumcake that's on Spotify. So you go to SoundCloud, and SoundCloud.
I'm managing my videos as we speak.
I don't want to log in or create an account. I'll go to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, YouTube. Oh, it's Bosnian Cumcake. Juicy Coochie? Is that one of them?
Actually, do you know what? To narrow this down, what I want you to do is I want you to type in Bosnian Cumcake, Rotherham Bumwater, and then you'll pretty much
spell that.
The albums have incredible names. We've got the Bum Blood Manifesto, Cum Snout, Rotherham Bumwater, and Doncaster Dick Dunk EP. So it's literally.
It's not bringing up anything on. It's just bringing up SoundCloud. It's not bringing up YouTube. Let me try again. Sorry, guys. We will get back to Motörhead as soon as we finish with the Bosnian Cumcake.
I've just one of these songs actually has a beat on it that's pretty sick, but it was fucking discovered by complete accident. It was like,
here we go. Bosnian Cumcake has their own page. Doncaster Dick Dunk. That's not name alone. It's an EP, but it's only 6 minutes long. Oh my God.
A big thing that we would do is
this is fucking amazing. Hold on, subscribe. I'm subscribing to Bosnian Cumcake. Guys, go to YouTube, and it's Bosnian Cumcake 1501. They only have 5 subscribers now, and I'm one of them. But so we got Doncaster Dick Dunk, Rotherham Bumwater, Cum Snout, and the Bum Blood Manifesto, which is dude.
Dude, if you want a good time, listen to those, because they're fucking funny. One thing I will say is that I'm not on Bumblood Manifesto or Cum Snout, but they are incredibly fucking funny listens. Mm-hmm. Rotherham Bumwater was where I came on board, and I pretty much did the Doncaster Dick Dunk entirely solo.
Nice.
Tell you what, hang on. What's one of the song titles.
I'm gonna go on record and say that it's fun making music with you, but can we get weirder?
Yeah, we absolutely can.
Because that's like that seems more fun.
Yeah, I'm absolutely down to get absolutely nuts with it. The funniest thing is that on one of the big things we would do is we would take like MIDI drum loops, but then we would put them in an instrument that's not drums, and you would end up with these like
nice,
like sort of fucked up things.
That is true experimentation, right there. Is what that is.
Actually, there's a song on Doncaster Dick Dunk that is literally just.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I keep looking at this bag behind you. Is that broccoli on that bag behind you?
It says go on Brock my world. It's just it's a supermarket bag.
Oh, okay.
That has some stuff in it.
Because for a second there, I thought that you had a bag of frozen broccoli just hanging out in your room.
Do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have to start doing. I'm gonna get like weird items and just putting them behind me and just see how long it takes you to notice.
Yeah.
I
thought that's what it was. I thought it was a giant bag of frozen broccoli, and I'm all like, "Is it you thawing it out, or what's happening?"
I'm just gonna make sure it's dead. There we go. Okay, we're all good.
Oh, that was a cool. He has a very realistic looking rifle.
Just for those.
It's got actual shells that you put in it.
Just stating for the record, anyone who wants to rob this studio, I'm packing.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
He could hit you in the eye, and it might make it sting for a minute.
Yeah. You don't want that. Here's my home invasion situation.
Okay.
I'm gonna be so incredibly fucking insufferably annoying. They'll be forced to kill me or leave. I'm either gonna go down there and I'm gonna slather myself in like ham and go, I'm the little meat man. I'm the little meat man. I run around. I run around. I
was thinking the best thing to do is to just shit in your hand and run to them and put it in their face, and then they're gonna get out of there as quickly as possible.
You know what? That is an incredible home defense technique.
Yeah, you have to? It depends on like what kind of weaponry they have and how many of them there are. But like, there are so many. Like, that's one of the things that kind of bums me out about like movies and TV shows. Whenever there's like some sort of attack happening, I'm just always over here going, gouge their eyes, you asshole! Why are you acting like you can't reach their face? You can put your thumbs into their eyes, and the scene is over.
Absolutely,
that's all you do. That's old head's self-defense technique. If you're in a situation and you feel like you can't get out of it, but you can jam a thumb into their eye, do it. Preferably both. That would be amazing.
There is one funny thing as well that I'll mention before we carry on. One of my favorite things to do is in GTA San Andreas, when you're playing it, there's a mission where basically there's this like Vietnamese gang and you're like teamed up with the Triads. Now the Triads and the Vietnamese gang, the Da Nang boys or something, they're having like a gang war, and you basically have to raid a ship that all of their merchandise is on. But once you make it to the command bridge of the ship, this old kung fu dude is like, we settle this here, throws you a sword, but you immediately have the option to just switch back to a gun and Indiana Jones him.
Oh, nice.
So like if you go onto that ship, inevitably packing, because you just pick up weaponry as you go. But one of the best clips I've ever seen, like, CJ sometimes will say like randomly generated phrases, like one-liners and shit. And one of the funniest ones, if you're lucky enough for it to happen, he'll throw you the sword, you shoot him, and he goes, "Welcome to America."
Nice.
Yeah.
I've seen these videos where somehow they get stuff on GTA to move like 500 times faster, and it'll just be them coercing cops to walk into the middle of the road, and then cars they'll just fly away, and it's just like their gun in their hat and their baton just fly onto the ground, and they're fucking gone. Anyway,
mods are the spirit.
I watch those things so much that you would think I'm a huge fan of the games and play the games, but I just like watching people do fucking funny shit on GTA.
There's something to be said for, like, you know, watching people fuck around in a game that messes with it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else like it. You know?
Anyway.
Yeah, it's great.
Game on!
Game on.
I don't even remember where we were. And,
I believe I talked about Motörhead, the debut.
That was your number 7.
I pretty much said everything I had to say on that. So,
cool. My number 7 is Iron Fist from 1982. Cool. Last album of the classic lineup. It has a very, you're right. Like, it has that enjoyable Motörhead 80s sound. Doesn't have a lot of interesting songs comparatively to their higher up albums. But I do like, you know, like Loser is a cool song because it really stands out for me. But like it was weird listening to some of these albums and figuring out where the rankings went, because I realized that, you know, there are a lot of people that don't want songs to stand out and don't want bands to do unusual things or different things. But unfortunately, that's the kind of fan that I am. So Iron Fist for me, like, I think it sounds really good, and it's got some really fun songs on it. And at least it has a little bit that stands out, just not a lot. But really, it's like a lot. These late 70s, early 80s Motörhead albums, like, they intertwine for me. And to where it's like, separately, I could hear one of these albums and go, God, this album's fucking amazing. But then, you know, if you play me Overkill and then play Iron Fist, I'm gonna be like, well, maybe I like Iron Fist more. It's like, it's just really weird because, like, you know, like pulling back, like looking at them from afar, I'm like, those are all great albums, but now I have to pick which one is greater for me. And Iron Fist ended up at number 7. Yeah, I was like, I don't really have any good reasoning for a lot of these. It's just like, this is how I feel about these albums.
It's just instinct at this point.
Yeah, I mean, once we get to the top 5, I can explain a lot more. Like, this goes here because of this, but yeah, Iron Fist is great, and that's my number 7.
Cool. So I guess that brings me to my number 6.
That's how math works.
Yes, yeah. Appropriately, this album does have a 6 in it. This is 1916.
Oh, okay. Yep.
That's my number 6. Now, this album is the album that had, like, the most time between it and the previous record in their entire chronology, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. A lot of bands, you know, it's perfectly normal for them nowadays to take like a 2 to 3, possibly even 4 year gap. 4 is still a bit of a stretch, but
Shit.
I mean, some bands
are doing 10.
Yeah, I mean, look at Metallica. You know, I got into them during the Death Magnetic era. I had to wait all the way till 2016 for a full, you know, I mean, excluding Lulu, which is a collab anyway. I really, really enjoyed this album. This is, in my opinion, the strongest offering of the early 90s Motörhead records. And not only do I think they fantastically do the Motörhead thing, they do some fun stuff with it. And then they close it out with 1916, which is one of the most moving songs written about a war ever. It's I mean, it just highlights what a travesty, you know, World War I was, you know. Coming at a time where empires were still a thing, but you had machine guns now and gas and all these horrendous nightmares to inflict upon people that you've got nothing personally against. You've just been sent to kill. You know, it's a very complex thing. World War One. In fact, actually, I've recently downloaded Battlefield 1 again. Sorry.
Isn't that a Star Wars game?
No, that's Star Wars Battlefront.
Okay.
Yeah. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a fucking banger. And I'm
Okay.
talking about the classic one from the 2000s.
Okay.
That one is one of the best
This is
PS2 games.
Battlefield.
Battlefield
Okay.
1. And, like, they did a few, like, set in the modern day ones, like, you know, Battlefield 3 and 4. But when they decided to tackle World War One, everybody's like, "You're crazy," you know. World War One's so limited.
You're
you know?
crazy.
Yeah, you're crazy. You
You're
don't do
nuts.
that. And then they successfully
Take the
created
makeup off. You nuts.
yeah. So I actually, not even consciously, ended up listening to that song while I was playing this World War One game. And I will say, for like, you know, not allowing other things to influence my takes on the music itself, because most of this album is just a fucking blast, and you just happen to get this like really somber closer that's really, really, really good. I teared up. It's, you know, it takes a lot for a song to make me tear up nowadays. You know, I've listened to so much music, you know. But that game doesn't paint it in a good light. You know, you're very much doing it. It's entertainment.
But how much was that message lost on the people that actually played it, though? I bet you there's a lot of people that didn't get it.
Yeah. But like for me, you know, I don't want to stand here and say like I'm a perfect fucking media consumer or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the way in so much of that is presented, it's one of those things that's like not just a game, but it's created to be an experience. And some of the shit that happens in that kind of gives you chills. It's like that realistic. It's weird, you know, to where you get the whistle, you go over the top, and you just, yeah. Anyway, like I'm saying, this song, it hits me right in the chest and brings the reality home, because it doesn't just describe, you know, how bad it was. It tells the story of a person who felt so strongly about where they were from that they lied about their age to go and die a horrendous death when they thought really they were just in for an adventure, you know. And I mean, World War One. I mean, I know we all know that World War Two was significantly more destructive. A lot more people died, but there's just a unique misery surrounding the First World War that's just so fucking sad. And, you know, really, in the grand scheme of things, the war to end all wars did fucking nothing. You know, we lost millions of people for feet of land at points, and it's just, yeah, the human race is insane. Yeah. But, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for bringing me back to Funland with that one. Yeah, I was really struck by that song. Like, I've heard it before, but like having that additional thing of like, oh man, I've quietly ended up walking into this trap of, oh my god. Yeah. It was. This is a fantastic album. And it's a hell of a return to making albums after the biggest gap. And, you know, I don't want it to hang over the whole thing. It's called 1916. There's a song called 1916 on it that's very somber. This is still a badass fucking heavy metal album.
The rest of the album's not like that.
Yeah. It just so happens to have a really, really fucking moving song to close it out.
Yeah.
So, if you fancy a rock record with a tearful ending, this is the one.
All right. My number 6 is Motörhead from 1977.
Yes.
Their first official album. I've always very much enjoyed the punk rock sound on this. It's an absolute blast. It always made me feel like they were trying to make a punk rock album, and this is how it came out of Lemmy and the guys.
Yeah.
Their brand of it. But I don't know. It's 1977, so who knows? There's that other thing about, like, you know, so many bands ripping off other bands from the exact same year of doing the exact same music, and I'm all like, are you sure they all heard the same shit, or was this, you know, how did that actually work? But, you know, you never know. My favorite thing about the Motörhead album is that every time I've listened to this album, I've always had the same thought. I'm like, this album sounds like it comes from a band that you don't want to run into in a dark alley.
Yes.
Like, they sound fucked up and mean and dirty. Like, the whole album. For some reason, everything just works on this album for me. I know in certain ways they would improve upon what they were doing, but there's something so cool about the whole vibe of this album. And I don't think that the original version of their debut would have made the same impact. I think that it was better this way. Once again, I definitely was not born in 77. I was -1 in 77. But
hey, we're in the same boat.
Yeah. We at one point we were both not alive.
Yeah.
That will happen again one day too.
Oh, damn.
We got any people tonight that are high?
So yeah,
God.
Motörhead's just it's a very enjoyable album, and I love the sound of it. I love raw albums that just sound like this is an album that if somebody came to me and said, they're going to do like a remix of it, I'd be like, no, fuck no, they're not. Like, don't remix shit like this. Sounds great. It's absolute blast. They would improve upon it, but it is a really, really fun debut. So that's my number 6, Motörhead.
Cool. So we have officially entered the top 5.
Yes, and we've got 1, 2. I think we've only got 2 that are both in our top 5.
Okay. Okay, my number 5 is Bomber.
All right.
So Bomber occupies this interesting zone where, it's an iconic album. It's got an iconic look to it, to the point where they even had their stage show had a big light rig that looked like the Bomber plane. And honestly, I had a great time listening to it, but to my ears, I don't know if it's because, I'd heard Overkill and Ace of Spades before hearing this one, that I just have the least connection to it. For me, there's very little separating those 3 albums in terms of vibe. They all came out within pretty much almost a year of one another, which, let's take for a moment, like, imagine being a Motörhead fan in 1979 and 1980. You were fucking spoiled. You got Bomber, Overkill, No Parole obviously got a release as well. That's a nice little bonus. Sorry, On Parole. And then fucking Ace of Spades comes out. Yeah, that's an incredible run of stuff to come out. You're really spoilt there if you're a fan. But I mean, for me, I think it just came down to this is the one I heard last, so I had the least time with it. So I think that's why it landed a little lower. But it's still great. This is Motörhead doing Motörhead, and they're good at Motörhead, It's great. Plus it's got Stone Dead Forever on it. And,
it's a good one.
I knew that from Metallica, so, Metallica did a nice little thing with that Motorheadache EP thing that ended up on Garage Inc. Because it was like a nice, hey, this is how Motörhead affected us. And you get to kind of go in retroactively if you got into Metallica first and get into bands that, influence them. I feel like Metallica don't get enough credit for how many covers they did, I mean,
sometimes they do, but yeah, they introduced a lot of people to a lot of bands they wouldn't have known otherwise. I don't know, Motörhead may not have been one, but I'm sure there are people that got into Motörhead because of Metallica.
Yeah. I think, you think about Diamond Head. I mean, Diamond Head are just tied to Metallica because of that Am I Evil cover.
I never would have known. I don't even think today I may know who they are, but I would not.
Yeah.
I knew who Diamond Head were in the early 90s because of Metallica. So
absolutely. Well, anyway, like I say, it's Motörhead doing Motörhead. They're good at Motörhead.
Yeah.
And this is the early stuff, so it came first. So we're not as burnt out on the Motörhead sound, I guess. So I can't but appreciate this era for what it did and what it influenced, and you know, just capturing this era. You know, that pre thrash metal place, which is really weird in retrospect. You know, it feels in retrospect that, you know, there was kind of a rule book by the 80s, but in the 70s there really wasn't one. You know.
Yeah.
You know, you had scenes popping up in the 80s where it was like, if you like this, you can't like this, and vice versa. You know, and some people were independent enough to just like everything, even if they didn't admit to it. But
Yeah.
I will say, album cover wise, Bomber is fucking sick, dude.
It's a great one.
You know, yeah, it's a great one. So yeah, with that, my number 5 is Bomber.
Cool. My number 5 is Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades from 1980. At this point, this is a legendary album, and I feel like it's an easy one for a lot of people to be like, that's the best one. I'm like, oh, there we go. It's the only one I have on vinyl, which is weird. But I don't remember how I randomly got that, but I did. But it's not my favorite. But tons of bangers on Ace of Spades, and I really like the production. It's raw, but it kind of in a real urgent and well produced rawness kind of way. A good variety of their early sound, comparatively speaking. I think that this is a much more varied album than the couple before, but still sounding like Motörhead. Does it lose points for the song Jailbait? Does it lose points? I was thinking about that. I was like, should it lose points for Jailbait? Because in the lyrics, he clearly doesn't know what her actual age is. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to know her age. He doesn't care about age. That being said, that song is called Jailbait, so he's probably hoping that she is a young girl. So,
I will say it is a nice counterpoint to have. You also have the "Don't Let Daddy Kiss Me" thing.
Yes.
So I feel like somewhere in there's the line, you know.
Yeah. and this is the kind of thing where I'm looking at this, you know, from 20. What year is it now? 2026.
2026. Yeah.
Jesus Christ! How did we get here? And I always have to keep, you know, because like I say a lot of times, not everything is black and white, and not everything is easily explainable like a lot of people want it to be. Because in 1980, the idea of a young girl who couldn't drink or vote or whatever being at a rock show and being a groupie, it wasn't looked at as like, oh, this is going to be awful for them when they grow up. You're taking advantage of them. Nobody thought that way. I mean, I'm sure people did, but the overall idea was not looked upon the same way that it is now. Should it have been looked upon that way? Yes, it should have been, but it was not. So when you take something like Jailbait or like Christine 16 or whatever, you take these songs and it's like, they weren't written with a "I'm going to fuck up your life, little girl." They weren't. Yeah. They weren't done that way. They weren't. That wasn't the mindset. So a lot of it has to do with, what do you call it? Intent. There's intent, and then there's context. All of these important things, which is why, like, somebody having sex with a 16-year-old groupie now is fucking horrible. In the 70s and even in the 80s, there were parents that were perfectly cool with it. It doesn't mean it was okay, but it was just
I mean, I don't know what it's like in your state. I know it varies state to state, but in the UK, the legal age of consent is 16, but it is frowned upon if you do that.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is 16 here too. But
hell, nowadays it's even dicey if you're a little too old and go the 18 route, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, so it's just one of those things where, like, there's a lot of factors, and I don't want to make any excuses for anything like this, but you're kind of an idiot if you paint everything with the same brush.
Yeah.
You take your 2026 glasses and you look at things from 50 years ago and you go, oh, we're supposed to see things the same way. I'm like, yes, I'm glad you're seeing things that way now. Because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to grow as people. But to be fair, if you nitpick all of the questionable things that musicians have done over the years, we'd have to get rid of fucking pretty much every band. We'd definitely get rid of Elvis. Fuck that. That guy would be gone. Nobody would be making Elvis movies if we cared about that kind of shit. So it's just one of those things where it's like, feel how you feel. Don't do that shit now because we know better. We should know better.
Yeah, I don't think it is strange, looking at songs that were written and put out. Nowadays everybody goes the route of like, what's that bit from It's Always Sunny? It's like, we got to do a song about diddling kids. Do not diddle kids.
Yeah,
it's no good diddling kids. There is no quicker way to make people think you are diddling kids than writing a song about it. But like you look back at this time, you got songs like Jailbait. Fucking now, here's an example. Now I don't know who wrote this, but I know for a fact that Saxon have a song called Sixth Form Girls. Now, granted, context is one thing. However, if your bassist does go on to become a convicted sex offender, then it gets slightly dicier.
But when you think about it, you can equate it with like advancements in mental health and other things like that. Like, think about it this way, like, there are things that you can look at from people from the 70s and 80s and you'd be like, that person was autistic. But that's not how we were looking at things back then. Now you can look at those things and go, oh, this is how we're looking at it. So it's the same sort of thing where a 22-year-old rock star writing a song about wanting to be with a 16-year-old back then did not have the same weight that it does now because we have advanced in our knowledge and our understanding of how these things affect those people. And so I feel like I'm a broken record. I'm not making excuses. If Jailbait makes an album lose points for you, I'm 100% behind you because it's even with context and intent, I listen to it and I go, that's lame to write a fucking song like that anyway. Like, why? Why even do that? But Ace of Spades overall, very enjoyable album. Second half is a little less interesting than the first half, but a lot of bangers. Great album, legendary album. It's only my number 5 though. And then my top four is fucking stacked. It is just crammed full of awesome shit. So okay.
Cool. So where am I? My number 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Given what you've said, I'm doing an on-the-fly change.
Isn't it funny how like we managed to cover world wars and child abuse? Essentially,
this is turning out to be a very heavy episode.
A very special Cranked and Ranked. Yeah.
Is that what's that thing? Is like today's episode covered drug use. If you want to learn more about drugs, go to your local library. There's probably someone behind there who sells them. Anyway, anyway, where was I? Number 4. My number 4 is Ace of Spades.
Okay.
And I'm in agreement. I think it's a fantastic album. Is there stuff about it that might have aged a little poorly? Sure. But I think overall, completely and utterly casting it aside without context because of one song would be unfair.
Sure.
I agree. I love this album. I do think that one of the funniest things for me is like Ace of Spades. So like da 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 da. Love Me Like a Reptile. So it's like ding 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 ding.
Oh, yeah.
ding, ding, da da da. But
not to mention, you go all the
yeah.
way to 20 years later or whatever with that "We Are Motorhead" song or whatever,
Yeah.
and it literally dun 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 dun. It's like it's like okay.
So we have a riff.
It's like ding 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 ding. It's like that's the Motorhead version of that. Motorhead is a band that rocks. I saw them at the Metro. It was a great rock and roll show.
Hang on, wait. I don't know if we'll get claimed for this. Was it?
Trust me, we will.
If you like to gamble, I'll tell you, I'm your man. You win some, lose some. It's all the same to me. Pleasure is to play. Makes no difference what you say. I don't share your greed. Only card I need. The Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades. Rock over London. Rock on Chicago. Motorhead.
Although
they're kind of a punk and metal band.
Although the chorus would have been more like Ace of Spades.
Oh, yeah. Ace of Spades. Let me. Let me.
All right. Yeah, we definitely got claimed for that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Fuck. There goes there goes the car and the bitches.
Oh yeah, all the fucking the money we make off of these.
Okay. Yeah. So right.
Speaking of money, I had a really interesting idea. This would never work, but I'm gonna throw it out there just in case somebody sees this. One of our fans and friends, Alasdair, who watches our stuff a lot, he was saying that if he had all the money, if he had tons of money, he would pay us to do a Zakk Wylde ranking because he knows that it would just be me talking shit for most of the time. And I told him, well, we'll put it on the list. He's like, I don't want to put you through that. That's if I have the money, I'll pay you for it. But I was just like, what if we put the call out there and said, hey, everybody put your bid out for what band you want us to do. And whoever makes the highest bid, we will accept and do whatever band you tell us to do. How high can we go? Can we make $15? But in my brain, I go, wouldn't it be funny if we just happen to have some random like viewer who's like a doctor or a surgeon, and he's just like, I will pay you $1,000 to do Grand Funk Railroad or whatever. Wouldn't that be perfect?
Hell yeah. Anyway. I don't need a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Except we do.
We do. So if anyone wants to bring forward a bid, we'll start adding them up and see who make the highest bid. Obviously, we need to see the money first, okay? We need to see it. And it should be delivered to us in a suitcase with hobnobs.
10s and 20s used.
Yeah.
Pure grade A Colombian, my friend. Anyway, before I go on a fucking Vice City tangent, I would pay good money to see what you would have to say about Black Label Society's entire discography, because they got a lot of stuff.
Well, he was I think he was talking about even doing like he was in that Pride and Glory band or whatever.
Oh yeah, so he did Pride and Glory, and he also did Book of Shadows in 1996, and then in 2016 he did Book of Shadows 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Not to to for people that aren't
Sabbath.
For people that aren't aware, I have no problem with Zakk Wylde as a guitar player. I do have issue with him as a vocalist and songwriter, but that's just me. So are you done with Ace of Spades?
Yeah, I was just thinking that episode was going to be a spicy meatball, my friend.
Yeah.
Speaking
of spicy meatballs. My number 4, Orgasmatron from 1986. Nice. So, number 1, it gets the award of my favorite Motörhead album cover. I've always fucking loved this album cover. I love the sound of this album overall. There are so many great songs on this album, and I really like the fact that the album, for me, is bookended by 2 of the best Motörhead songs for me. And then, like, in between it, you get a lot of Motörhead that sounds Motörheadish. It's not it's not like anything that adventurous, but they're all really well done. And I always really liked the way that this album is like, there's these two really cool tracks on the beginning and end, and then it's just like kind of a very well done Motorhead album in between. But I've always like, I thought originally going into this ranking, I was like, Orgasmatron's going to end up being my number one because I know how much I like that album. But the only fault that I can see of this is some of the tracks are very what you would already come to expect from Motorhead. So there's not, it's kind of, they're doing what they do. But just the whole vibe of this album, I very much enjoy it. And the album cover fucking rules. So
it does.
And it's from 1986, which was just like this amazing year for music. I mean, there was, I feel like starting at 1986 all the way through like 94, like all those years were amazing for music. But yeah, absolutely love Orgasmatron. I don't know how fans in general feel about Orgasmatron. Is it like a beloved album, or is it one that people don't like? I don't really know that much about it. I just know that I've
highly of from what I can tell.
I've always really enjoyed it.
I think a lot of people view it as a return to form. You know.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, really good album. Obviously, there are three that I like even more than Orgasmatron, which says a lot because I really like Orgasmatron. So that's my number 4. On to your number 3. There's only one album that we have both not talked about yet.
Okay. So my number 3 is Another Perfect Day.
That is also my number 3. Another Perfect Day.
Hey, nice.
Another album that I was like, this might be my number 1, and then it just turned out that it didn't make my number 1 spot.
Yeah. For me, this album is the first time Motorhead step in a direction that doesn't feel tied entirely to the Motorhead vibe. There's a lot of melodic hard rock stuff going on.
Dude, this album made me wish that more bands would do things where they just got some outside influence to come and be in their band for one album cycle.
Yeah.
Just to shake things up. Because in this case, it's a Motorhead album, but it's almost like there's like extra seasoning on top that just makes it so much more enjoyable. I don't know. And it's Brian Robertson. It's got to be him. Because like he's not in the band anymore, and then those seasonings aren't there anymore. So anyway,
yeah, it's great. It's a great album. I loved it.
So he wasn't an original member of Thin Lizzy, I don't think, but he was in Thin Lizzy for a few years before he was in Motorhead.
Listen, so Brian David Robertson is a Scottish rock guitarist, best known as a former member of Thin Lizzy from 1974 to 1978. So that would have been like, damn, that's like peak Thin Lizzy.
We still need to do Thin Lizzy at some point. That's on the list, dude, guys. That's not one you have to pay for. Thin Lizzy's going to get done.
Yeah, I would love to do Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, me too.
I've never heard bad Thin Lizzy. I will say.
Yeah,
that.
Me neither. Me neither.
Like, I'm just hands down. So, damn. So, 74. Oh, dude. So 74 to 78 encapsulates these albums.
Okay.
Nightlife, Fighting, Jailbreak, and Johnny the Fox and Bad Reputation.
Wow. So, okay. So he's a legendary member of Thin Lizzy. But like, the cool thing about Another Perfect Day for me is that it's got that great early 80s sounding production that I really enjoy, but just all of the melodic touches that are added to the songs, and not only that, just an overall vibe that doesn't exist on any other Motorhead album. Like a good example, if you don't know a lot about this album, go pull up the track One Track Mind. The vibe on that song is so cool, but the whole album has this vibe that I'm just like I've heard it, multiple times throughout my life, but just like listening to it and trying to rank these things, I was just like, this album is too good. Like this is, if this isn't one of those albums that if somebody says this is the best Motorhead album, I 100% back you on that. It's like the most sophisticated Motorhead album, I guess, that they ever did. And I guess as a Motorhead fan, I wouldn't have wanted them to continue doing an album like this. And I feel like it's almost cooler that it just exists here. And
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
I love it because it's just like it's got enough Motorhead stuff on it to make it sound like a Motorhead album, but it's almost just like you're getting a richer, more dynamic Motorhead album, and I love it.
I would never want a band to do anything that they didn't want to do that like came off inauthentic.
Sure.
However, the idea of parallel universe travel has always been such an appealing concept to me.
Yes, 100%.
And I would love to see a world where Motorhead went the hair metal route, like, and did a turbo. Like, I would love to see the
Dude, how cool would Lemmy's voice be over some, like, synth drums and synth, like, you know, some sort of muddy synth, you know, bass lines and shit?
You won't hear me.
Oh, yeah, it would have been great.
Yeah, that would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I just want, if I was like somebody that was more technically savvy, musically speaking, I would take.
Keep your hands off. Private
I would take Motorhead songs and make 80s synth remixes of Motorhead songs, because now that I'm thinking about it, that would be good. So anybody out there,
dude,
I task you with this.
Imagine his voice over some like post-apocalyptic Kung Fury-esque dystopian Blade Runner ass synthwave.
Dude,
it would be so fucking cool.
Now that you're mentioning it, not only could he have easily made great music in that vein, if in the 90s he had adopted like industrial, it would have sounded fucking great.
Yeah.
He could have done shit like Ministry and done his voice over it, so would have been great. Also on the list, Ministry.
Yes. I've been meaning to dip back into the industrial zone. I was listening to my music on shuffle earlier, and Head Like a Hole came on.
Yeah, my son's getting into a lot of that stuff because he'll come to me and be like, "I've been listening to this new band." Like he got into like KMFDM, and then just yesterday he was like, "You may know this band, Lords of Acid." I'm like, "Yeah, I know Lords of Acid." So he's just getting into all of like the '90s industrial scene. And I'm like, there's a lot of great shit from around then. Yeah. So
it's the 90s, man. 70s, 80s, and 90s are just a wealth of good shit.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
So do you have anything else to say about Another Perfect Day? It's a pretty perfect album for me.
Yeah, it's in the zone of unfuckwithable for me.
Yeah.
I love this album.
Cool.
So yeah. Pretty much it.
That's our one matchup right there. Number 3, Another Perfect Day. Now your number 2.
My number 2 is Sacrifice.
Oh shit! I thought you already talked about this album. This is also my number 2. Sacrifice.
Hey,
For a second there, I thought you had already talked about it, and that was disappointing because this album is fucking fantastic.
This album blew my fucking mind.
Don't think I had heard it before we did this ranking. I think I fell off of Motorhead somewhere in the early 90s, and I never heard anything else except for just random shit. But man, Sacrifice. I'm so glad we matched up on this. Go ahead, you go first.
This is one of those great minds think alike situations where we've just ended up with 2 back-to-back. The thing is, right, you get album upon album already of an established sound.
Yeah.
They get adventurous with it, then to a point that peters out and they go back to doing a modernized core version of that sound.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, I don't know what boot went up their ass to do this album, but it must have been the most spiked fucking maced up boot imaginable. Because like from the moment this album starts to its end, it is this could be a contender for one of my top albums of 95 now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even fucking around when I say that, because this, on the heel of Bastards, came out of fucking nowhere. And I know a lot of people like to point to Bastards as being this, like, great heavy album that's a great return to form after the dud that came before it. But to me, in the way that Bastards sounds tinny, Sacrifice goes the other way. It's just like all the weight is in the right place, and there's a certain like they lean into the metal zone in the mid 90s when that couldn't have been less cool, and yet they do it in such a grungy alternative metal way,
almost groove metal.
Almost groove metal that it absolutely just throws that fucking convention to the wind. And Sacrifice is incredible. You know, in the way that Another Perfect Day added lots of melody.
Yes.
This grooved and thrashed the fuck out of anything that came before it.
Yeah, it sounds so much of its time that it sounds so like Motorhead existing in that sound. It doesn't sound like they're out of place at all. Like,
not at all.
If I had one gripe about this album, for 1995, the production could have been a little better, maybe, but. Man, I am absolutely down for low-tuned, groovy Motorhead. It just like we said, like I feel like Lemmy could have adapted so many different rock styles and still made really fucking cool music. And this is an example of that, where it is way more 90s groovy, heavy, down-tuned shit, and it's just fantastic songs and just such a great fucking vibe. Once again. Is this the kind of thing, because music like this doesn't really exist, done like this anymore? I know there are a lot of bands that try to do the groove metal thing, but I don't know what they're missing. They're missing out on. They're missing on the fact that it's not the 90s, is what it is.
Yeah.
But, Sacrifice is fucking great.
Sacrifice is incredible.
Yeah, I'm glad that we matched up on this, because I was a little bummed, but on top of it, the album cover.
Yeah, no, straight up, it's sick. Like, honestly, like, everything about this fucking album, that's almost Painkiller levels of cartoonishly fucking awesome.
Yeah,
like,
it's like a horror movie poster.
Yeah, the fact that they not only added a dick-shaped tongue to Snaggletooth.
Yeah.
Right? Right, not only do you have that, right? Everything happening around Snaggletooth,
yes,
it's like this hellish, nightmarish, fuckingly, like, for what Painkiller was in 1990.
Yeah,
metal, like, people's idea of what metal is in 1995 should have been fucking this album cover.
I don't know who did the album cover for this, but I might want to see if it says.
This album's the full package.
Let me scroll down. All right, so Joe Patang. God damn it! No. Joe Patangno. Oh, he did rock covers for Zeppelin, Nazareth, Black Oak, Arkansas, Sweet, Hawkwind, Motorhead, Autopsy, Sodom.
This guy knew what he was fucking doing, man.
Yeah. He did quite a lot. So good for him. But that's some great fucking artwork on top of the. It could have just been the normal. Snaggletooth white on a black background, and I would have been like perfect, but like it's great.
This is a perfect example of everything coming together perfectly for me. Like, there is only one album above this because I have such a connection to it. But like on any given day, this could be my number one. You know,
speaking of, also we didn't really talk about the album cover for Another Perfect Day. Which, speaking of tongues, that one's got a forked tongue, and I love the fact that the Motörhead logo is being fucked with by whatever's going on in the cover. Like, Motörhead had some pretty boring album covers, but there are a few that are just made to be purchased on vinyl, and just because they look so good. But I'm such a fan of album covers that that's really the only thing from the 90s that was a bummer to me, is the way album covers went later in the 90s. I was just like, I don't need a picture of a staircase. That's fine. Thanks. Thanks for nothing. So anyway.
Yeah, I love this album, man.
Yes.
Like I'm
Yes.
so thrilled that we're in agreement on this and the previous album. I knew we're going to be high up. Little did I know that we matched up completely. This is amazing.
So yeah, Sacrifice. If you're like me and have never given this album a shot, and you like that groovy down-tuned '90s stuff, and you want to hear Motörhead do it, they do it really well. We did not match up on our number ones though, and I don't remember what you have left out. So I'm very interested to hear what your number one Motörhead album is.
Okay, so this album is actually one that you had a lot of gripes with. However, my number one Motörhead album, pretty much based on the time I've spent with it and the connection in 3 songs it has to Metallica. My top Motörhead album is Overkill, because this is the album. This is the album that turned me on to the band, and you know, my journey with Motörhead has been a very gradual one. You know, I mean, I said in the last episode when I first, you know, kind of discovered Motörhead, it was one of those things where it's like I recognize what's great about this, but it doesn't necessarily have enough seasoning for someone who's embracing the bands such as Faith No More, for example, where there's so many different things going on. Yeah, that getting into a band that's a bit more meat and potatoes, such as Motörhead, would find challenging initially. But you know, having actually deep dived into all these albums, I can't help but love this album, because it's like, it's a step up in terms of production from the previous album, in my opinion. You know, I definitely, not only that, but it comes right out of the gate with the song Overkill. It's also got Damage Case on it, and I actually got into this with the CD version because I was so impressed with what I'd heard that I went out and bought the CD. And I didn't realize that Too Late, Too Late wasn't actually on the original album.
It was a B-side, wasn't it?
It was a B-side, but because I loved Overkill and because it was a reissue and because it was, you know, I ended up buying it. And I just really connected to this because it was like, wow, like, you know, if this album didn't happen, my favorite band might not look the same. Or sound the same or even exist at all. So
I mean, I can't argue the impact and importance of an album like Overkill. Like it's great. Like it's
I think especially examining it through the lens of like, this came out in the 70s. You could have put this out in like 83 and it would have done well. You know, it would have probably hopped on the thrash bandwagon. But it's incredible, isn't it, how rapid the change was in the early 80s to where it's like, you know, in the 70s, people were still figuring it out. Like right through the 70s, there's like no real convention or anything like that that's like one thing. You know, Sabbath got incredibly experimental by like, you know, the end of the early 70s to the mid 70s. But like, you know, Judas Priest didn't show up on the scene until 74. You had other bands like Kiss and other bands, like they were all doing this like heavy rock thing, but like it wasn't like metal until like it had been like, you know, adorned that retroactively. But when you get to the early 80s, like so much happens in that span of time, man. Like, you know, you think about like a prime example of this is Maiden's career. Like look at Maiden in 80 compared to 84. It's like two entirely different bands. It's almost, well, it's pretty much like a slightly less sonically, but like, you know, it's a Chuck Mosley, Mike Patton situation. Where you've got like two different vocalists. And early on, as much as Steve Harris is going to hate what I'm going to say, you know, there is a punky vibe on the first couple, solely based on that vocal delivery. It's a bit gruff. It's a bit rough around the edges. You know, you get to fucking Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave. Then you jump all the way to fucking Somewhere in Time. Somewhere in Time is my favorite Maiden album, like hands down. That one is my favorite. That's a span of 6 years. That's like talking about us in 2020 compared to now. And I can't help but think, like, fuck, dude, how much shit happened in such a small space of time? You know, A, because bands were You know, I'm not saying that shady record practices didn't happen back then, but
no, they did.
But
yeah,
you were still fucking paid for what you did.
I'm telling you that it's like I talked about last time. Also, like music was treated as something special. Musicians were treated like it wasn't background. Well, I mean, probably for some people, I'm sure, but overall, it was not to the same extent. Like not only just fans, but record labels, even if they were trying to take advantage and make money and fill their pockets, they couldn't. You still had to treat the artists like what they were doing was something important and something special and something that needed to be whatever you call it, appreciated. And so there was it worked because the vibe was there of, hey, what we're doing is special and people love it. So, and people, are fans. So we could try new things and keep the ball rolling. And there was a encouragement almost of that. And sure, you would have the vocal people that would be like, why do they gotta use keyboards in the album now? But then like you just give it a couple years and everyone's like, who the fuck cares? This sounds great. And so that was somebody on a motorbike.
People like to drive crazy around here.
So all these bands from that era that we talk about, they all have that chunk of time where I just go, man, music was just so. It was great that bands were just like, no, just put out music. We like what you're doing. Put it out. Yeah. What's this next album going to sound like? Is it going to be a little bit like a slightly better version of the last album? Cool. Then you're going to do another one a year from now that's a little bit different. It didn't matter because it was just like, this is special stuff. We're going to go out and buy your albums. We're going to go to your concerts. And now it just doesn't. Now it's like people don't want to buy albums now and they can't go to the concerts because it's too goddamn expensive. And so it's like a completely different world now. So there is no encouragement of put out albums every other year at least. Yeah. Put out albums that sound a little bit different, maybe push some boundaries, try something to see how it works and how people react, or I don't know. It's fucking sad to live where we live now musically.
The cost of things nowadays, especially, like in my current situation, I've been priced out of vinyl for the most part. Unless I buy gnarled up second-hand pressings, which I do. I do like my stuff to be a little lived in.
Yeah, I do. I like that as well.
I enjoy that, and it can also be easier on the wallet, depending on the album. Sometimes people will want a scratched up fucking, useless disc because it's still an original, Whereas
I'd like mine to at least be playable, where I can listen to the album all the way through and there's no problem with the album. But other than that, like I'll take some dinged up and scratched up covers because I'm just like, this album needs a home and it can live in my home.
I don't mind if someone's clamped the fucking corner off the top of the damn thing and thrown it in a bargain bin as long as it plays. But like I've gone back to CDs lately because I can't afford. So I do my best to put money back into, physical media.
Yeah.
I
spend way too much money on physical media. I'm just telling you.
Dude, I will say though, like I've been making a conscious effort to, I'm guilty of being a little bit of I wouldn't necessarily say I'm an iPad kid, but like I'm definitely guilty of leaning into convenience at times where I wish I hadn't,
you don't always get that luxury.
You don't always get that luxury, exactly. And also, another thing, a big thing for me is like I've been thinking about lately is I just want to support the artist. As a musician and a creator of many different things, I know the time, effort, and price you have to pay, to make some of this shit happen.
Yep.
And, even if you do love it, it still comes at a cost. Yeah. So at the end of the day, the best thing you can do if you like something is put a little bit of money back into that thing to make sure it keeps going. Because, the day that it comes to, they turn around, what was that fucking, I can't remember who said it, but it was like, you'll own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I fucking won't.
Yeah.
You know? Recently, one thing I've started doing is I bought a PSP charger, and I've started using my PSP again because it is a portable entertainment system that I don't have connected to the internet, and I don't. It lets me play a fun thing when I'm doing nothing, and I can take it where I want. But I'm not being bombarded with like, so and so's life's going better than yours. Look at what this guy done. Look what this guy done. You know. And
do you know what's?
Of course,
do you know what's weird? Not just.
What's that?
I'm sorry that we've. This has been a very tangent-filled episode, but
I love it.
I don't know who needs to hear this. I am talking to you, but I'm also talking to the audience that may need to hear this. Like, if you're like me, and you do spend time on your phone, you know, where you feel like you want to scroll and you want to do the social media thing, which I do a lot. If you're anything like me, like I don't like going out into the world. There's a lot of awful people out there, and I deal with my own mental health issues. And so I live a lot of my life. I have my family, and I live a lot of my life like this. Social media, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. That's how I live my life. And we need to stop acting like that's a bad thing, because you will hear people say, look, nobody's out enjoying themselves anymore. I'm sorry. I go out sometimes. There are too many fucking people out there. We are currently not having a problem with people not going anywhere. In fact, I would like it if more people were like me, to where if I wanted to go do something and be like, oh, there's not a lot of people around here. This is fucking great. But usually way too many goddamn people out of their houses. I'm like, go home. You don't need to be out here. So I'm just saying, like, nobody should feel bad.
So many are fucking scrolling anyway, you know?
Well, yeah, that's also a thing. But also, that shouldn't be bad. Man, I was so fucking annoyed. I was with, you know, my wife and my kid at a doctor's appointment, and we're all on our phones waiting in the waiting room. And I'm currently reading an article from some music publication. And this lady walks by, and she's just like, look at it, everybody's just on their phones, everybody on their phones. And I didn't say a fucking word, but I wanted to be like, if we were all holding newspapers, would you have a problem with that?
Yeah, no, I feel the same way, because like a lot of people, you know, you can use your phone for shit that's not scrolling Instagram and feeling bad about yourself. You know, like that's another thing is like, you know, I use my phone a lot because it's an easy way to listen to music and podcasts and shit like that. You know, because I like those things.
I use mine to be social. Like that's my social outlet. And because I'm like, thanks, lady. I'm glad that you were born so outgoing with no anxiety or depression.
Yeah.
Congrats.
How wonderful it must be to be a neurotypical extrovert who's never had anything bad happen to them.
Yeah.
You know?
So, but I'm just like, if we were all reading newspapers, nobody would say a fucking word. And I'm just like, it's that same thing where it's like, you know, it's so great to see these clips of concerts where nobody's holding any phones. I'm like, yeah, phones weren't invented. And guess what? It was filmed on a camera somewhere else. It's just like, it's like, it's like I understand the in certain circumstances it can be a negative, but I'm just saying there are so many people like me out there, and I'm like, don't fuck those people. Like, live your life. And it's like, if you're not harming anybody, who cares if you're playing fucking Candy Crush on your phone and that's what you want to do? Who cares? Like, there are so many people out there that what they're doing with their life is fucking with other people's lives. And at least you're not. You're just earning jewels or whatever you do on Candy Crush. I don't ever play Candy Crush. So I'm just like, nothing. There's just like, just everybody fucking back up for a second and just be like, hey, just everyone be cool. All right.
I've just been trying to divorce my mind from any toxic, you know, hustle things I've picked up along the way. I realized that for a long time, like, I was being driven largely by revenge for people, you know, who had treated me poorly. And, you know, I've been in therapy lately, you know, I've you know, just to open up on the podcast, and I've realized the only
I should be in therapy, but I'm not.
the only fucking things I've been serving in the last few years, you know, apart from this podcast, which is like basically therapy in itself, because I get to fucking lore dump about shit I'm passionate about in the context that it's acceptable. You know, you can't exactly talk about Motörhead's entire discography at a family function.
Nope.
Expect people to keep up. You know, my main.
It's like welcome to my family gathering. Do you have 2.5 hours to spare for me to talk about my top 10 Motörhead albums and anything else randomly that pops into my head?
Yeah, I've been you know, trying to get to the root of what was driving me before, and at a point I actually did have it in my head where if I wasn't fucking Paul Stanley by 40, I had to off myself.
Yeah,
and it was like, that's not a healthy fucking place to be.
Nope.
You know, Paul Stanley didn't know he was going to be Paul fucking Stanley. He just did his thing. You know,
I went through that. I had to admit to myself that I had failed at what I wanted to do with my life, and I remember going through this really huge depression and admitting that to myself. And I was 28 years old.
Dude,
and now I'm almost 50, and I'm just like, well, I'm really glad that I didn't succumb to that way of thinking, because sure, maybe I did fail at that point at what I was trying to do, but like, that's not the end of it, you know?
Yeah, no, I too have been going through kind of a thing, like, you know, I've not been in a gigging band, you know. We've got Grave Circuit, which is our no rules outlet, which is fan-fucking-tastic, and I'm so grateful that exists now. I think for me, you know, I don't know, there's a part of me now that's rewiring that like ridiculous all-nighter 80s fucking montage mode.
Yeah,
you know, that propels me, but it doesn't have to come from a toxic place. It can come from, hey man, I'm just gonna kick ass this week, you know. Not I have to be performing for thousands of screaming people, or I'm, you know, nothing. You know, that's not where that should be coming from at all. So I think, in one way, I've gone through like an incredibly healthy growth in the last year or so.
And that's great, because it's like, because I can say from an older person's perspective too, those things, you're still going to deal with those things even when you're older. There's going to be those times where you have those thoughts where there's
what if I was Jason Newsted?
Yeah, and there's insane envy and jealousy that you have to realize is unnecessary, and then there's also like you said, revenge against people that were shitty to you in the past, and like, you know, you still feel that from time to time. I still feel that all the time, but you get to that point where you're just like, this is ridiculous. There's no it doesn't help me at all. Anyway.
Okay.
There we go. There it is.
Where were we? Is this the most tangents ever?
We've covered war, child abuse, and mental health. So I believe. I mean, I've done my number one, which was your number Overkill.
One? Overkill, yes. Okay, my number one, 1916 from 1991.
Hey, cool.
This album is absolutely perfect. I love how the album sounds. Let me just list off the singles off of this album. I'm So Bad, Baby, I Don't Care. No Voices in the Sky. Love Me Forever. Angel City. Those aren't even, you know, those are amazing songs, but there's like, all the songs are amazing. Like, this album is an absolute blast, and some of the songs are, in my opinion, some of the best Motörhead songs. And it's just like it's almost just like everything came together on this album with songwriting, production, performances. The whole thing is just, in my opinion, the most perfect Motörhead album. Sure, maybe some people would want a rawer sound, and that's fine too. I enjoy those as well. But this one is just like, there's something about it that feels so... like there's a nostalgia to the sound and the songs, and it just feels so perfect. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's one of like the songs are great, but it's just like the overall vibe of this album and the sounds and everything on it. I'm just like, this is just amazing. This is just, if they had made 3 of these albums, I would have enjoyed 3 of these kinds of albums. They wouldn't have been as high on my list, but
well, you'd have 1917 and 1918 as well.
Yeah. But yeah, and the fact that it ends with this really like sort of moving track, it's just something about this album. This is just it's so perfectly done. And it hits all the marks that I want. Like, really like all of these. I could see somebody thinking Ace of Spades was the number 1. So anything in my top 5, Orgasmatron, Another Perfect Day, Sacrifice, those are all albums that I'm just like, these are so close together for me and how great they are. Yeah. Not to mention the fact that Motörhead managed to make an entire career where there's no album that I think is bad. There's repetitive stuff for sure. But
they've got a core sound, but they never took a shit on it.
No.
Basically.
But not only that, there's nothing I've never heard a Motörhead album that sounds phoned in. Like it sounds like even when they're just sort of treading water and doing a similar thing, I 100% believe that this is what they wanted to do. And this is what Lemmy wanted to do. And so there's something to be said for that.
Yeah. They were Motörhead and they played rock and roll.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good way to end it. I love that. We're ending this here. So there you go.
Fuck yeah. I always like to try and be the kind of like ditzy dumb friend in the friend group that occasionally drops the most insightful fucking thing. That's the friend I always aspired to be. I always. Have you ever seen the UK version of the In-Betweeners? You ever seen the In-Betweeners?
I've never seen any version. Is there a version of the In-Betweeners that's not from the UK?
There was a US one, but it flopped because it didn't go hard enough into the UK vulgarity. But there's one line from the In-Betweeners movie that always lives rent free in my head, and it's when Neil, the kind of dumb friend, he says something about being happy, and he just is, and everybody's Will, the main character, he's kind of like, you are, aren't you? You are happy, But there was one part, like in the lead up to that, where he goes, I stopped believing in God when I realised it was just dog backwards. What? G-O-D, D-O-G. He's just kind of befuddled by it.
Yeah.
But I like when I get an occasional mic drop moment.
Yeah, if the US is going to try to like make US versions of sort of raunchy shows, they need to lean into that. And I think nowadays they can do it, but for a while that was not a thing that the US was doing. There's a great UK show called Misfits. Have you ever seen the Misfits? Where they're like, they have like special powers and stuff.
I thought it was cool, but I just never I never watched it. I had a friend who watched it and recommended it to me, but I just never got around to seeing it.
But that's the kind of show that at the time when I watched it, I'm like, they would never make this in the US. This is there's too much violence and vulgarity and sex and all this stuff in this show. Whereas now over here, you get a show like The Boys, which I absolutely loved and watched every episode of. And I'm like, oh, well, if they can do that here now, then they could make a US version of Misfits. And I think they should, because I think it would be, they could probably make it pretty fun. Anyway, let's wrap this up. It's been 2 hours wrapping up Motörhead. Thanks everybody for listening and for watching the Peanut Butter Platypuses, the Aluminium Squirrels, the Belvedere Ball Sitters, the Christmas Dogs, and the Syrup Penises, right?
Yes. Speaking of which, we actually need to work Syrup-Penis into a song, because I went back and I listened to that first Grave Circuit album, and it ends with Christmas Dogs. Yeah, I do that little shout out at the end of Freedom Lie.
Oh, yeah.
So
we're gonna have to.
We actually, I think it would be fun to dedicate an entire song to Syrup-Penises.
Okay.
Syrup-Penis. yes, something
Coming
like
soon.
that. Yeah, coming soon.
Yeah. So next episode is going to be a special Slashed and Mashed.
Yes.
Where we quite possibly could have a special guest briefly on the show with us, but we're not. I don't want to say anything else about it because if it doesn't happen, then I don't want to feel.
I am through the roof excited for that. You know.
So anyway, that's what's next. Next time you see us, a new Slashed and Mashed, but I'm not going to say anything else about that. I would like to go on record now in front of everybody and request a band that I don't even know is on our list, but if they are on our list, I would like to boost that band further up to the more recent, and that is The Cure.
Ooh, okay.
Because
cool. That sounds good to me.
I am now going through my third phase of The Cure in my life. Like, I got into The Cure in the 80s when I was young, the late 80s. And then I went through a big Cure phase in my 20s, and it's fucking happening again. I wasn't even, I liked that newest album they put out, but it didn't connect with me. But what's happened recently is I have a collection of singles called Staring at the Sea on vinyl. And I was listening to it, and I was like, God, these songs are all so fucking good. But at a certain point, I had to realize, you know what? I haven't thought from a more mature mind how fucking insane it is. All the amazing, legendary songs that if you take Robert Smith's voice out of some of those songs, you wouldn't know it was the same band. Like there's a Cure sound that they do on certain albums that people will look at and go, oh, that's the Cure. But there's so much shit in the 80s that like is some amazing songwriting. And I'm just like, God, I know fans of The Cure understand it, but people don't talk about how adventurous while still making amazing music they were. And I guess and still are, but you know, they're making music that sounds more like what you expect from The Cure. But they've just really like all of a sudden I've gotten to like I can feel it happening in my brain too. When I start listening to a band and I go, oh shit, it's gonna happen where I'm gonna have to get every goddamn fucking album on vinyl. And I only had a few, so I had work to do. But yeah, that's for some reason I've just now looking at that band, I'm all like, wow, I think that like the things that are going to stand out to us doing a ranking are probably not going to be the same things that are going to stand out to like other people who listen to The Cure, you know? But yeah, man, that fucking run from the, you know, their first album was 79 all the way through, you know, the early 90s. Like, speaking of bands putting out so many albums and doing so much different shit with their sound.
Yeah.
It's insane. Anyway, so.
Cool.
But not yet. Somewhere in the list. Throw them in there.
Cool.
Because they have like, I don't know, like 15 albums or something like that. They have a good amount. Are you pulling it up right now?
I was just counting the albums. It was 15.
Oh, it is 15?
Yeah, you are correct.
Sweet. Anyway, so that's coming sometime soon. Who knows? But thank you very much for being here for Motörhead. It's been a blast. We love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And as usual, I will throw it over to Eddie Sparxx to take us out.
Later, dude. Later, dude.
Bing, 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 bing,